The sun above the arena was red and burning. Thousands of aliens filled the seats, cheering loudly. The sand in the center of the arena was stained dark from blood, old and fresh. It was a place where warriors fought to the death. No mercy. Number? Escape. Only one rule. Survive. In the center stood a tall alien woman. Her skin was bronze blue, marked with scars. Her eyes were sharp, but tired. Her name was Trella, once a war leader of the feared Korthon Empire. She had defeated over 50 enemies in her life. Now she stood alone. Across from her was a human. Not just any human, Captain Jace Ward. His armor was scratched and burnt. His arms bled, but he held his weapon strong. The crowd had never seen a human in the arena before. Humans were strange to them, soft, emotional, too kind. But Jace had already beaten 3 warriors. Now it was Trella's turn. The arena's horn blew. The gates slammed shut, and the fight began. Trella rushed forward like lightning. Her double blades spun in her hands. Jace dodged the first strike. The second, he jumped, rolled, and hit back. Metal clashed. Sparks flew. Dust rose into the air. The crowd roared. For 10 long minutes, they fought. Fast, brutal. No words, just grunts and sweat. Trella was strong, but she was tired. Her wounds from the last battle hadn't healed. Jace noticed. His strikes grew. Harder. Her step slowed, then it happened. Jace knocked her down. Her blades flew from her hands. She fell to her knees, breathing heavily. Blood dripping from her side. Jace stood over her, sword raised. The crowd screamed, "Finish her!" But Jace didn't move. He looked at her not with hate, but with something else. Curiosity. Trella looked up at him. Her body trembled. She had never begged before. Never in her life. But now, tears filled her golden eyes. "Please, human," she whispered, voice shaking. "Show me mercy. I'll do anything." The arena went silent. No one had ever heard her speak like that. Jace's hand froze in the air. He saw something behind her, warrior mask pain. And fear. He lowered his sword. Gasps filled the air. The crowd shouted in anger. Some booed, some threw things, but Jace didn't care. He turned away. Guards rushed in. They chained Trella and pulled her away like a prisoner. One guard laughed. "Why spare her? She'd have killed you." Jace didn't answer. He just looked back once at her. Trella looked back too. Their eyes met. Something changed in that moment. Not just between them, but in the arena itself, because for the first time in its bloody history, a human had shown mercy, and the most dangerous warrior had begged for it. Trella sat in the holding cell that night, her hands still tied. She couldn't sleep. Why had he spared her? Why did he look at her like she was worth something? She thought back to her people. They never showed mercy. Mercy was weakness. But the human, he was strong, and he had spared her. She closed her eyes and whispered again, "I'll do anything." Not out of fear now, but because something deep inside her wanted to understand that human, and maybe to change. The chains were cold and tight around Trella's wrists. Guards dragged her across the metal floor of the human base. Past soldiers who stared with mixed eyes, some with disgust, others with fear, and a few with silent respect. She was not a prisoner of war anymore. She was a defeated prize. Captain Jace Ward walked beside her. He said nothing. His armor was scratched. Blood still dried on his sleeve, yet his eyes were sharp and calm. They reached a small holding chamber. No cages, no guards. Just for metal. Walls, one bench, and a locked door. Jace turned to the guards. "Remove the chains." The nearest guard blinked. "Sir, she's a Korthon elite. She'll kill us the second she's free." "She won't," Jace said simply. "How can you trust her?" the man asked. Jace looked at Trella. Her head was down. She didn't speak. She didn't fight. She asked for mercy. Jace said, "I gave it." "That means I trust her at least once." The guard hesitated, then slowly unlocked her cuffs. The chains dropped to the floor with a loud clang. Trella looked up, her eyes unreadable. She didn't attack. She didn't run. She simply sat down on the bench, her back straight like a soldier. Jace closed the door and stood inside with her. "You didn't have to spare me," she said, voice low. "No one would blame you if you had killed me. I killed hundreds of your kind." Jace nodded slowly. "I know. Then why?" she asked, her voice growing sharper. "Why did you stop?" Jace sat on the floor across from her, tired but calm. "Because I saw something in you, something different." She laughed bitterly. "You saw a broken warrior." "No," he replied. "I saw someone who didn't want to fight anymore." Her smile faded. "I saw someone who wanted to be free from this madness," Jace added. There was silence between them. Trella looked away. Her sharp eyes softened. "You shame me," she whispered. "No," Jace said. "I give you a choice." That word hit her like a blade. Choice. She had never been given one. Her entire life was built on orders. Fight, win. Survive, obey. The Korthon Empire didn't ask. They commanded. Even her rise to general was not by will, but by blood and death. "What choice?" she asked. "You said you'd do anything if I spared you." Jace replied. Trella nodded slowly. "I don't want a slave," he continued, "and I don't want a weapon. I want the truth." "Why did you beg for mercy, Trella?" She looked at him for a long time, and then she spoke. "My sister is dying," she said quietly. "She's all I have left." Jace blinked. "You have a sister?" "Yes," Trella said. "Her name is Laurel. She was born weak. Empire leaves the weak behind, but I broke the rule. I hid her, fed her, fought for her." Jace listened closely. "I entered war to keep her safe. The more I rose in rank, the more protection she had. But then I lost. I was taken. And now I don't know if she's alive." Her voice broke. "I begged for mercy," she said, "because if I die here, no one will be there for her." The room was silent. Jace stood up. "You're not my enemy anymore, Trella," he said. "And if your sister is still alive, I'll help you find her." Trella stared at him. "Why?" she whispered. "Because you don't belong in chains," Jace said. "You belong beside someone who believes in second chances." Later that day, the commander of the human base called Jace into a meeting room. "You want what?" The commander barked. "I want her removed from the prisoner list," Jace said calmly. "Put her under my watch. She's not a threat. She's an alien war criminal." "She's not a criminal," Jace said firmly. "She's a soldier, like me." The commander frowned. "She could turn on you. I'll take the risk." The commander narrowed his eyes. Then, finally, he sighed. "Fine. But if anything goes wrong, it's on your head, Jace." Trella stood outside the chamber that evening, no longer in chains. Jace handed her a new set of clothes, not armor, but simple gear, comfortable, neutral. She held it in her hands, confused. "I'm not your enemy," Jace said. "And I'm not your master. From now on, you choose who you want to be." She looked at the clothes, then at him, and for the first time in her life, she nodded with trust. Not because she was forced, but because she chose to. The stars above the human outpost were silent. Trella stood outside the barracks, staring at the night sky. For the first time in many years, she was not under orders. No commander shouted her name, no alarms, no pressure to kill, but freedom. Was strange, quiet. Heavy Captain Jace Ward watched her from the doorway. "You missed your home?" he asked. Trella didn't look back. I never had one. They sat by the fire later that night, away from the other soldiers. A small flame flickered between them. Jace offered her dried food. Trella took it slowly, still unsure if this was real. He broke the silence. "You told me about your sister, but not about you." Trella looked at him carefully. "You want to know who I was?" "I want to know who you are," he replied. She took a breath and began. "I was born on Kortha's prime. The sky was always gray there. The wind never stopped. We were trained young to young. My first weapon was put in my hand at age 4. I didn't get a choice." She stared into the fire. "If we cried, we were punished. If we bled, we were mocked. And if we lost, we disappeared." Jace didn't interrupt. "My parents died in a border war. I was taken into the warrior class. They fed us 1 meal a day. We fought for the second. We earned sleep with obedience." "What about your sister?" Jace asked softly. "She was born when I was 13. Lyral." Trella's voice changed. Softer now. She was small. Weak legs. Couldn't run like the others. "The medics said to discard her." Jace blinked. "Discard?" Trella nodded. "The Korthon Empire only keeps the strong. The weak are a waste." "But I hid her, fed her in secret, trained twice as hard to cover up her weakness. I became a killer, to protect a child who had never harmed anyone." Jace's hands tightened. "You're not what they say you are," he said. "They call you a monster, but you're more human than most people I know." She looked at him with strange eyes. "What is human?" she asked. He paused. "It's complicated, but I think it means you feel pain. You love, you regret."
Oh.
Trella was quiet. "I regret much." She finally said. She continued her story. At 16, Trella was sent to the outer colonies. She was already a squad leader. Every mission was blood. Every victory was survival. The more she killed, the higher she rose. "Every medal I got," she said, "was paid with someone else's life." Jace asked, "Did you believe in the war?" "No," she said, "but I believed in keeping my sister alive. The more I rose in rank, the more protection she got. I could hide her behind my power." She leaned forward. "Then I lost. The humans captured me. And now I don't even know if she's still alive." Jace nodded slowly. "We'll find her." Trella laughed sad and dry. "Why do you care, human?" "Because I've lost family too," he said. "And I wouldn't let anyone else suffer that alone." Suddenly an alarm rang in the distance. A small ship had entered their airspace. Jace stood up. His communicator crackled. "Unknown vessel approaching, no weapons detected. Looks damaged. Civilian signals present." He looked at Trella. Her face had changed frozen. "What is it?" he asked. "That signal," she whispered. "It's Korthon. Medical class? That's what we use to carry patients. My sister might be on that ship." Jace's eyes widened. "Let's go." They rushed to the landing zone. The ship was broken and blackened from space travel. Human medics stood around it, pointing weapons just in case. The door opened slowly. Out came 3 alien figures, civilians, scared, shaking. One of them limped badly, leaning on a cane. Trella stepped forward, her breath caught in her throat. The limping girl had golden eyes, just like hers, Lyral. Trella said, voice cracking. The girl looked up. Trella, Lee ran to each other and hugged tightly. Jace stepped back, watching quietly. Some soldiers stared, confused. Others turned away. But none of that mattered. Trella was crying real tears, for once, not because of pain, but because she got her sister back. That night, Trella sat by Jace's side again. Laurel was resting in the next room, safe. "You gave me a gift I can never repay," Trella said softly. "You already did," Jace replied. She looked at him. "How?" "You showed me what kind of person you really are." Trella smiled. Just a little dot, and for the first time since she entered human space, she didn't feel like a prisoner. She felt like a person. The night sky above the human outpost was quiet. Too quiet. Captain Jace Ward stood on the command balcony, arms folded, looking out over the walls. Behind him, engineers worked on scanners, medics carried supplies, and the barracks buzzed with soft voices. The war was slowing down, or so they thought. Inside the base, Trella sat alone in a small room Jace had arranged for her. It had no weapons, no cameras, just a bed, a window, and silence. She sat on the floor, her sharp eyes staring out into the darkness. Her body was healing, but her mind remained alert, always watching, always waiting. Then something caught her attention. A faint flicker in the sky. Not lightning, not stars, but ships, Korthon ships. Her breath caught. Her blood ran cold. Suddenly, the alarm rang. WEEE-000. WEEE. Red lights flashed through the hallways. Soldiers shouted and ran. Guns were loaded. Doors locked. JC burst into the hallway, grabbing his helmet. "What is it?" he yelled. A young officer sprinted to him. "Sir, 3 unidentified ships just landed outside the walls. They're not responding. Looks Korthon, but stealth class. Not on radar until the last second." Jace's jaw tightened. "They're here for her," he muttered. Trella was already up when the door opened. Jace rushed in. "Get down." Under attack, but she didn't panic. She stood tall. "They're not here for your base, human. They're here for me." "What?" She stepped forward slowly. "Korthon Command hates weakness. To them, I'm a traitor. I begged for mercy, in front of the galaxy. That brought shame to the Empire." Jace stared at her. "You're saying they came to kill you?" She nodded. "And anyone who protects me." Outside, blasts shook the base. Fire lit up the sky. Black-armored Korthon warriors stormed through a broken section of the wall. They didn't speak. They didn't negotiate. They came with only one goal: assassination. Jace led a squad to push them back. "Hold the line. Protect the comms room. They'll try to shut us down." Trella grabbed a nearby energy staff from the weapons locker. One soldier aimed a blaster at her. "She's a prisoner. She doesn't fight. She fights with me," Jace shouted. "Are you crazy? She just became the best weapon we have." Trella stepped forward, face calm, eyes burning. "Let me prove it." The battle began. Korthon elites leaped through smoke and flame, slicing through metal and man. But they didn't expect their old champion to be standing against them. Trella moved like a shadow. Her staff spun, cracked, and slammed into enemies with brutal grace. She knew their tactics. She predicted their moves. And beside her, Jace fought with perfect rhythm, the human and the aliens side by side. Enemies just hours ago. Now brothers in battle. One Korthon commander spotted her. "You," he growled. "You should have died in the arena." Trella faced him. "Maybe I should have, but I didn't, and now you will." Their blades clashed with burning fury. Sparks flew. Dust exploded beneath their feet. Jace watched as she pushed herself beyond pain. Beyond fear, this wasn't just survival. This was redemption. After 20 minutes of chaos, the last enemy ship exploded in the sky. The base was damaged, but still standing. Smoke rose from the east tower. panic, medics rushed to the wounded. Droids cleared rubble, and in the middle of the battlefield stood Trello breathing hard. Bruised, but alive. Jace walked up to her. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded. "They won't come again. Not for a while."
Ow.
He looked her in the eye. "You've saved my life back there, and you spared mine," she replied softly. The same soldier who had doubted her earlier walked over. He didn't speak. He just looked at her with respect, and then saluted. Trella didn't know what to do. She looked at Jace. "What does that mean?" He smiled. "It means they're starting to believe in you." She looked down at her hands. It's the same hands that once killed without mercy. Now they protected humans, and something deep inside her felt peace. But as they walked back into the base, a message came through the main terminal. JCEO pinned it. A grainy image appeared, a young Korthon girl, lying on a sick bed, breathing slowly. Trella's heart stopped. Lure LL, her sister, alive. But barely. The message had no words, just coordinates, and a simple warning: come alone, or she dies. Jace turned to Trella. "We'll go together," but she shook her head. "No," she said. "This time, I have to go alone." Trella stood at the edge of the desert. The heat was dry. The sun was sharp. Sand blew in small waves across the ground, hiding the bones of old machines and broken walls. Ahead of her stood the ruins of Site 19, an abandoned alien outpost from a forgotten war. It was half buried, half broken, and fully dangerous. No one went in. Those who did, didn't come out. But today, she would, because this was her trial. Captain Jace Ward had argued with the brass all night. "She saved our lives," he shouted. "She bled for us." The commander crossed his arms. "She's still a Korthon elite. We can't let her go free just because she helped in one fight." "She wants to find her sister," Jace said. "She deserves a chance." The commander leaned forward. "Fine. One chance. Site 19. She goes in alone. There's a lost human artifact buried inside. She brings it back. She walks free. And if she doesn't, she dies in the dust like the others." Now, standing before those cursed ruins, Trella said nothing. Her hands were steady, her eyes calm. She wore no armor, just light gear. A blade on her hip, a scanner on her wrist. Nothing more. Jace walked up beside her. "You sure about this?" he asked. "I'm not doing this for your people," she said softly. "I'm doing it for the promise I made, and for my sister." He nodded. "Then, come back alive." She looked at him one last time, then stepped into the ruins alone. The air inside was still, dry. Old daughter boots crunched over shattered bones and rusted wires. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls, language older than either of their empires. Her scanner beeped. Power readings detected. She moved deeper, down broken stairs, past cracked doors, through twisting tunnels, then dash clang. A metal panel slammed shut behind her. She was locked in. She took a deep breath and whispered, "This is your test, Trella. No turning back." The ruin was alive. Hidden machines turned on as she walked. Old defense systems reawakened. A floating drone shot a beam of light at her. She dodged just in time. Another shot fired. She rolled behind cover, then threw her blade with perfect aim. Crash! The drone fell in pieces. Her arm bled, but she kept moving. Down a hall. The floor suddenly gave way. She left hand barely caught the edge. She dangled over sharp spikes, fingers slipping, but she pulled herself up, gasping. Sweating alive, she found a round chamber. In the center floated a glowing cube. Her scanner blinked fast. Artifact identified, she stepped toward it. Then the room filled with light. A voice echoed from the walls. "Who are you?" Trella looked around. "I am Trella of Corthan blood. I come to earn freedom. You carried death in your hands." "Did?" she whispered. "You ask for mercy, but have you given I?" She closed her eyes and remembered. The soldier she had spared long ago, the girl she helped hide during the raid, and Jace. The human who believed in her. "Yes," she said. "I have." The voice fell silent, then, slowly. The cube floated down into her hands. The trial was complete. Outside, Jace waited by the ridge. The sun was starting to set. A few soldiers sat near the camp, whispering, "She's gone. No one survives Site-19. She was never one of us." But then, through the dust, a figure appeared, bloody, dirty, but standing tall. Single quotes Rella. The cube in her hands, Jace rushed to her. "You made it?" She fell to her knees, exhausted. "It's done." He caught her before she hit the ground. The commander stood behind them, wide-eyed. She actually did it. Jace looked at him. "Now do your part." The commander slowly nodded. "She's free." That night, Trella sat outside the base under the stars. No chains, no guards. She was truly free, but she didn't leave. Jace sat beside her. "You could run now. Go find your sister." "I will," she said, "but not yet." "Not?" She looked up at the stars. "I owe you more than freedom. I owe you trust, and I'm not running from it." He smiled. "You're not who you were." "And I don't want to be," she replied. Then she looked at him. "From this day forward, I walk by your side." The journey to the border world. A Varnic 3 was long and dangerous. Jace sat in the pilot seat of the stealth shuttle, steering through broken asteroid fields and old war zones. Trella sat beside him, quiet and focused. Her eyes scanned the screen. Her hands rested near her blade knot in fear. But in readiness, they were going after Laurel, Trella's sister. The message they received after the arena attack had led them here. A forgotten planet, no laws, no peace. Just smugglers, hunters, and those who preyed on the weak. And somewhere in that chaos was a dying girl. They landed just outside a ruined spaceport. The wind carried dust across the ground. The buildings were cracked and half-buried. Old Corthon flags still flew torn and faded. Trella looked at them and felt a twist in her chest. This was once her people's land. Now it was only ash. Jace scanned the area. "We move fast, we find her, we get out." Trella nodded. "She's all I have left." "No," Jace said gently. "You're not alone anymore." They followed. The signal to an underground bunker beneath the port. It was dark inside. Wet. The walls smelled of oil and rust. A voice called out from the shadows. "You're late." They turned sharply. A tall Corthon male stepped forward. Black cloak, one glowing eye. Scarred face. "I'm Varesh," he said. "I sent the message." Trella drew her blade. "Where is Laurel?" Varesh smiled. "She's safe, but not for long." Jace stepped forward. "No tricks. We came to help." Varesh's smile faded. "Then help her by finishing what should have been done long ago." "She's weak. Sick. The Corthon way is to let the weak die. You broke that? Law wants Trella. And for what?" "She's my sister," Trella said coldly. "She's a burden," he replied. Trella raised her blade. "Take me to her." "Now?" Varesh shrugged. "As you wish, but once you see her, you'll regret coming." They followed him down. Another level, and there, inside a sealed room, under dim light and humming machines, lay a small figure. Lure L. She was thin, her skin pale. Her breathing was slow, Her eyes were closed. Trella dropped to her knees beside the bed. Laurel. She whispered. The girl opened her eyes. Sister, she said weakly. Trella took her hand, her heart shaking. I'm here. I came. For you, Laurel tried to smile. You look older. And you look... Stubborn, Trella whispered back. Jace stood by the door, watching silently. Vorish leaned against the wall. She doesn't have long. Her lungs are failing. There's a treatment, but only the humans have the medicine. Jace stepped forward. We can help her. I'll call it in. No, Vorish said sharply. She must stay here. This is where she belongs. She belongs with her sister, Jace replied. Not with cowards hiding in shadows. Vorish's eyes narrowed. You're too soft, human. And you're already forgotten, Jace said. Varishistan drew his blade. Trella stood between him and Laurel. I spared my enemy once, she said. I will not spare a traitor. The fight was fast and fierce. Varish lunged at Jace, but Trella intercepted him. Blades clashed. Sparks flew. He moved like a shadow, but she moved like fire. Her strikes were precise, furious, not for war, not for power, but for family. With a final blow, she disarmed him. Varish fell to the floor, breathing hard. You lost your honor long ago, she said. Then kill me, he spat. Trella looked down at him, and she did not raise her blade. No. She said, you're not worth it. Jace carried Laurel to the shuttle. Trella walked beside him, blood on her arms, but peace in her heart. Laurel rested her head on her sister's shoulder. I knew you'd come, she whispered. I will never leave. You again, Trella replied. Jace smiled. We'll get her to a human station. She'll live. Trella nodded. And I will serve beside you, as long as you'll have me. He looked at her. Forever, if you want. Later, as the shuttle broke atmosphere, Laurel slept quietly, breathing easier already. Trella stood near the window, watching the stars. Jace joined her. You've changed, he said. She smiled softly. No, I've become who I was meant to be. And for the first time in her life, Trella felt whole. The medical bay aboard Outpost Haven was quiet. Laurel lay in a recovery pod, wrapped in gentle light, her chest rising and falling with soft, steady breaths. The human doctors had done what Korthon science never could. Her body was healing, slowly. But surely, Trella sat beside her, unmoving. Her hands rested on her knees. Her armor was gone. She wore a simple robe like any other citizen, but her eyes still held the strength of a warrior. And something new. Peace, Captain Jace Ward stood by the door, watching her quietly. It's done, he said softly. She. Liv Trella nodded, her voice low. Because of you. No, Jace replied. Because of you. You gave her something no medicine could. What's that? Hope. Hope. News of Trella's mission spread fast. The Korthon warrior, who once ruled the arena, who begged for mercy, who fought beside humans, who saved her sister, not through war but through loyalty, trust, and love. The Alliance Council summoned her. So did the Korthon exiles. Some wanted her punished, others wanted her honored, but Trella refused them all. Instead, she walked into the great hall of unity, a new chamber built to bring peace between species, and asked for only one thing, a place to speak. The hall was filled with humans, aliens, soldiers, and leaders. Trella stood before them in silence. Then she spoke. In the beginning, I thought mercy was weakness, that humans were soft, foolish, that survival meant strength, and nothing more. She paused, her voice calm and clear. But one man showed. Me, I was wrong. All eyes turned to Jace, sitting in the crowd. He spared me, not because I earned it, but because he believed I could be more. Gasps whispered through the room. I fought for a cruel empire. I killed without question. But now, I fight for something else. Not power, not pride, but honor. She stepped forward. Today, I make a vow not as a Korthon, not as a warrior, but as one who has seen both sides of war. She dropped to one knee before Jaset and bowed her head. I offer you my life, she said, not as payment, but as choice. The hall went still. Jace stood, slowly. Trella, I never asked for this. I know, she said softly. That is why you deserve it. He looked into her eyes. She was no longer the broken warrior in chains. She was something more, something new. Then rise, he said. Not beneath me. Beside me. Cheers filled. The chamber Trella rose, and for the first time, smiled fully. It wasn't the smile of a soldier. It was the smile of someone free. Weeks passed. Jace and Trella worked together to form something new, the Cross-Species Guard. A peacekeeping unit made up of both humans and former enemies who believed in unity through choice, not chains. Laurel became their first civilian voice, young, but wise beyond her years. Together, they visited war-torn colonies, freed prisoners, helped orphans, and offered mercy where none had been before. And everywhere they went, people whispered her name, not in fear, but in respect. One night, Jace and Trella stood under the stars again, side by side. Do you ever think, he asked, what would have happened if I had finished the fight that day in the arena? She didn't answer right away. Then, quietly, she said, I would have died, still believing I was a weapon. He nodded. But you didn't, she continued. You stopped. You listened. You gave me a chance. He turned to her, and you became more than I ever imagined. She smiled. No, we became more. The wind moved softly. The stars above shined like quiet watchers. Trella took a deep breath. I once said, I'll do anything to live, she said. But now, I say this. She turned to face him fully. I choose to stand with you, not because I must, but because I believe in what we are building together. He held out his hand. She took it. Warriors once on opposite sides of history now walked forward as one.